Welcome to Math Science History. Hi, I'm Gabrielle Burchak. I'm an author, a speaker, and a former actress with a background in math, science, and journalism. I promise you, by the time you're done listening to this, you are going to know so much more about the history of pumpkins, spices, and the math and chemistry that go into the perfect pumpkin spice latte. In the year 415, the infamous philosopher and mathematician Hypatia of Alexandria, Egypt, was savagely murdered by church monks. This murder shocked the Roman community and its government leaders. Hypatia was known far and wide as a respected philosopher, mathematician, government advisor, and a professor. Hypatia, The Sum of Her Life, is a book that I wrote that looks not just at the circumstances surrounding her death, but also at the sum of her entire life. I weave in the details of her education, disciples, Neoplatonic philosophies, female contemporaries, and the many mathematics that she wrote and taught about. There is truly more to Hypatia's life than her death. Hypatia, The Sum of Her Life, written by me, Gabrielle Burchak, is now on sale on Amazon. Buy your copy today. It's October worldwide, and I have a treat for you. Pun intended. In the United States, it isn't only Halloween season. It's also pumpkin spice season. And though I'm not a huge pumpkin spice fan, I do enjoy the occasional pumpkin spice liqueur and a slice of pumpkin pie. It's funny that this phenomenon is specific to the United States. My Italian tutor in Italy is completely shocked at our bizarre obsession with pumpkin spice. And she's not wrong. In these parts, the list is long. We have Starbucks pumpkin spice cold brew concentrate, pumpkin spice Cheerios, pumpkin spice graham crackers, pumpkin spice rolls, pumpkin spice cream cheese. Yes, that's a thing. Pumpkin spice mochi, pumpkin spice caramels, pumpkin spice chocolate milk, pumpkin spice marshmallows, pumpkin spice cookie mix, pumpkin spice Oreos, pumpkin spice Spam, pumpkin spice creamer, pumpkin spice dog shampoo, pumpkin spice toilet paper, pumpkin spice deodorant, pumpkin spice kale chips, pumpkin spice margaritas, pumpkin spice flavored beef jerky, pumpkin spice latte flavored beef jerky, and LaCroix pumpkin spice sparkling water. And I'm not making any of this up. That's how much pumpkin spice we have. And that's just a few of our items. Even at Home Goods, we have pumpkin spice scented pumpkin pillows. It's ludicrous. That said, I'm diving deep into the chemistry of flavor, the history of spices, and the math behind crafting the perfect pumpkin spice latte. So, grab your cup of pumpkin spice whatever and get cozy. Let's explore. Before I get into the chemistry and math of it all, I will start with the history of pumpkin spice. Because it may seem like a modern invention, but the roots of this flavor go back centuries. Pumpkins are native to North America. The indigenous people were using pumpkins in their cooking. They roasted, baked, and made soups, stews, bread, and desserts. The tradition of roasting the seeds was also common. Our indigenous tribes left nothing to waste. Each of the tribes has their own way of cooking pumpkin-based meals. The northeastern Iroquois tribe cultivates pumpkins and combines them with corn and beans in a trio known as the Three Sisters. The Algonquin tribe roasts their pumpkins over an open fire, or they bake them in clay pits. The Great Plains Sioux tribe roast or steam their pumpkins. They make a dish called pumpkin mush, where the pumpkin is boiled and mashed, sometimes sweetened with wild honey or mixed with other grains. It's delicious. The Great Plains Cheyenne tribe makes pumpkin stew and incorporates meat such as buffalo or deer, creating a filling and protein-rich dish. The southwestern tribe, the Hopi, prepare their pumpkins by steaming them in underground ovens called uhi. They combine their pumpkins and ceremonial dishes with other crops like cornmeal to make sweetbreads or cakes. And the California tribes, including Pomo, incorporate their pumpkin dishes with local crops like berries and honey to sweeten their breads and cakes. But it wasn't until European settlers arrived that pumpkins started to take on the flavor profile that we know today, thanks to one key element, the spice trade. Spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves started arriving from Asia. Cinnamon and nutmeg traveled across the Silk Road from places like Sri Lanka and Indonesia. These spices were so valuable that they were considered luxury goods and were sometimes used as currency. So, pumpkin spice is a fusion of flavors from various parts of the world, spices from the East and pumpkins from North America. So, now we fast forward to the colonial era, and suddenly you've got pumpkins meeting these spices in American kitchens. By the 19th century, pumpkin pie spiced with cinnamon and cloves became a Thanksgiving staple. And from there, it was only a matter of time before someone thought, hey, this would go great with coffee. So now we're going to go into the chemistry of pumpkin spice. What is it about pumpkin spice that makes it so irresistible? Well, it's not just about taste. It's also about chemistry. Each of the spices in a pumpkin spice blend include cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger, and they contain a volatile organic compound, also known as a VOC. When you heat or grind spices, these molecules evaporate into the air, giving them their strong aroma. So I'm going to break it down. Cinnamon contains cinnamaldehyde, the compound responsible for its warm, sweet flavor. Nutmeg has a chemical called myristicin, which adds a slightly nutty, earthy taste. Cloves are packed with eugenol, which gives them that spicy, almost medicinal bite. And ginger has gingerol, which gives it both spiciness and a bit of sweetness. But these compounds don't just create flavor. They interact with our brain's olfactory system, triggering emotional responses. The olfactory system consists of specialized sensory cells located in the olfactory epithelium in the nasal cavity. These receptors are sensitive to specific chemical compounds. So when these VOCs enter the nasal cavity, they bind to these olfactory receptors, activating them. Once activated, the olfactory receptors send signals through the olfactory bulb, which processes the information and relays it to other brain regions. The signals travel to areas of the brain involved in emotion and memory, such as the amygdala and the hippocampus. That's why the smell of pumpkin spice often reminds people of cozy fall memories or holiday baking. And here's where chemistry really comes into play. These compounds are all synergistic, meaning that when they're combined, they enhance each other's effects. That's why pumpkin spice doesn't just taste like cinnamon or nutmeg. It's the blend that creates the signature flavor. And here's the cool thing. These spices bring valuable nutrition to our diet and well-being. For example, cinnamon contains several other aromatic compounds, including eugenol, coumarin, and various essential oils, which also contribute to its scent. The scent of cinnamon can lead to feelings of warmth, comfort, and nostalgia, which can enhance mood and reduce stress. Also, some studies suggest that the aroma of cinnamon may improve cognitive function and memory. This could be due to its stimulating effects on the brain, potentially improving focus and concentration. Cinnamon has antioxidant properties which can support overall brain health. Antioxidants help protect brain cells from oxidative stress, which is linked to neurodegenerative diseases. Nutmeg is an interesting beast. Excessive amounts of it can lead to adverse effects due to its psychoactive properties, so you don't need much of it. Nutmeg contains several volatile compounds, with myristicin being most notable. Other compounds include eugenol and safrole, which contribute to nutmeg's distinct aroma. It's similar to cinnamon and can enhance your mood and reduce anxiety. Nutmeg has some great nutritional value. It has vitamin B6, essential for our metabolism and brain health. It also has vitamin C, which supports our immune system and skin health. It has manganese, which is valuable for bone formation and metabolism. It has copper, which is essential for iron absorption and red blood cell formation. It also has magnesium, which provides over 300 biochemical reactions in the body, including muscle and nerve function. Nutmeg has plenty of antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Cloves provide vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory properties, which are great for people who struggle with arthritis. Cloves have vitamin C, antioxidants, and vitamin K, which are vital for blood clotting and bone health. And like nutmeg, it holds manganese, calcium, and magnesium minerals. And as I noted before, they are rich in eugenol, which combats oxidative stress and might reduce the risk of chronic diseases. The cool thing about cloves is that they have been shown to possess antimicrobial properties, which can potentially aid in oral health and fight bacteria in the mouth. And like any other spice, it's important to consume cloves in moderation because too much of the spice can lead to gastrointestinal issues, liver damage, increased bleeding risk, allergic reactions, hormonal imbalances, neurological effects, and oral irritation. Good times. Finally, ginger has vitamin B6 and vitamin C. B6 is suitable for your metabolism and brain health, and vitamin C, as Linus Pauling showed us, is an antioxidant that supports our immune system. Ginger also has potassium, which is excellent for heart health, muscle function, and maintaining proper fluid balance. What I like about ginger is its anti-inflammatory effects, which are great for people who struggle with arthritis. Also, I discovered this next tip decades ago while on a trip to Hawaii with my husband. He got seasick while we were on a boat to go snorkeling, and they gave him a bag of ginger to munch on, and it worked. Ginger is the perfect go-to for motion sickness, like when you're on a boat or traveling on a bus or a car for long distances. Now I'm going to go into the nerd behind the perfect pumpkin spice latte. Unbelievably, there is more math and science in your pumpkin spice latte than you might think. Today's baristas are our modern-day chemists. They use precise measurements and tools, thermometers, scales, angles, analysis, and knowledge that many of us are completely unaware of. Here we go. First, let's do some coffee talk. You know I love my coffee. And the perfect latte involves the ideal espresso. But first, a short message from the podcaster. While we're talking about coffee, come visit me at mathsciencehistory.com. And while you're there, if you like what you're reading and you like what you're listening to, click on that coffee button and buy me a cup of coffee, or 2 or 3 or 4, because every cup of coffee that you buy helps to pay for this podcast and all the expenses that go into making it. It doesn't even have to be a full cup of coffee. It could be a $3 donation. And I really appreciate those coffees that I get. And I really appreciate all of you who have bought a virtual coffee for me and continue to buy those monthly coffees. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for keeping this podcast going. Anyhow, back to the coffee talk. If there's one thing that is essential to a good pumpkin spice latte, it is the perfect espresso. I prefer 2 espresso shots in my pumpkin spice latte because I like to taste the coffee. So though it is subjective, the goal is to get a coffee bean that provides a level of richness and flavor for your latte. The lighter roast coffee beans don't taste as good as an espresso. They are kind of sour tasting and they're acidic. But some people like a light roasted espresso. As an Italian girl in spirit, I do love my Italian coffee. And from my experience, their Italian espressos come from either a medium dark roast or a dark roast. Some medium roasted coffee beans can provide caramel or chocolate flavors. The medium dark roast gives it a rich, complete, and a dense taste. It's good. Then there's the dark roast coffee beans. The flavors are smokier with a hint of burnt. So if it tastes too burnt, then it's probably a Starbucks. Sorry, Starbucks lovers. I'm not a big fan. But if you do like dark roasted blends, use a French press. Those make the best dark roast espressos. In case you haven't noticed, I love coffee and I know a lot about it. I should start a whole new podcast about coffee. as if there aren't enough out there, right? Anyhow, now on to the pumpkin spice latte. Let's talk ratios. The perfect balance of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger is key to a great latte. Too much cinnamon is overpowering, but too little loses that cozy warmth. It's all about finding the right proportions, like in algebra, where balancing equations is essential. In fact, some baristas use a ratio of 4 to 2 to 1 to 1. 4 parts cinnamon, 2 parts nutmeg, 1 part cloves, and 1 part ginger to achieve that iconic pumpkin spice taste. For the pumpkin taste, you can either make your own pumpkin puree or buy it in a can. I personally like my pumpkin spice latte with pumpkin puree because it gives it that rich, smooth, pumpkin-y flavor. Some people like a liquidy pumpkin spice latte, but I like mine with a thicker texture. So you can reduce the pumpkin puree by simply putting it in a saucepan on medium to low heat and stirring it until it's thicker. It's all about personal preference, but if you're in a rush, pumpkin syrup works too. Or I've even heard about pumpkin butter, and I've never had a pumpkin spice latte with pumpkin butter, but if you have, please reach out to me on the socials or leave me a comment on my blog at mathsciencehistory.com and let me know how it tastes. It kind of sounds good. So, now, when you steam the milk for a latte, you're going to do more than just making it hot. You're going to change its structure at the molecular level. Milk contains proteins that trap air when you steam it, forming foam. The heat also breaks down lactose, the sugar in milk, to simpler sugars, which makes the milk taste sweeter. Making the foam involves understanding the distance of the steam wand to the surface of the milk. When you hold the pitcher spout closer to the surface, it allows for more air to be incorporated, which results in a frothier foam. But as the milk begins to heat and the foam develops, moving the spout deeper into the milk can make it creamier, denser. This allows the milk to heat without adding too much air. And there is truly some geometry that goes into making the perfect pumpkin spice latte. Let's talk about the angle of the pitcher. Tilting the pitcher at a specific angle helps create a whirlpool effect in the milk. This motion helps to incorporate air into the milk, which is essential for creating microfoam. The optimal angle of the tilt is between 30 and 45 degrees. This is effective for incorporating air while heating the milk. The angle can be adjusted based on the desired texture of the foam. A steeper angle can create denser foam, while a shallower angle might produce lighter foam. In my last podcast, I talked about tribology and how the study of tribology is also used in fluid flow, and this plays into this podcast. Pressure, speed, and control of the pouring technique can influence the foam's consistency. Pouring too quickly can lead to large bubbles. In contrast, slower, controlled pour helps create a velvety microfoam that blends well with the espresso. Using a steady pressure when steaming or pouring helps maintain control over the flow, contributing to the overall texture of the latte. Finally, the temperature of the milk is crucial. The temperature also affects the foam. If it's too hot, the proteins break down too much and the foam collapses. If it's too cold, you don't get enough foam. Milk should be steamed to a temperature of around 100 to 155 degrees Fahrenheit or 65 to 68 degrees Celsius for optimal texture and sweetness without scalding. Also, your choice, if you have a choice, of cup can affect your pumpkin spice latte. The shape of the cup and the way the foam spreads depend on geometric principles of surface area and symmetry. But the latte art, that's my favorite. Those intricate leaf or heart shapes are perfect examples of symmetry, another important concept in math. In fact, creating those designs requires an understanding of fluid dynamics and symmetry to ensure the milk and espresso blend together beautifully. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, hey, what about the whipped cream? Come on, man, let's be pretentious for one day. We're not making a puppuccino here, we're making a latte. We're not going to put whipped cream in this one. Okay, so I'm wrapping this up, but I want to talk about the dangers of pumpkin spice. As a side note, it's important to remember that some pumpkin spice ingredients are toxic to your pets. Nutmeg poisoning can include hallucinations, increased heart rate, vomiting, or even seizures in your pets. Cinnamon can potentially lower their blood sugar levels, and cloves can lead to liver damage and gastrointestinal irritation. And consider that pumpkin spice-scented items like candles and pillows can pose risks to your pets, especially if they have essential oils, like scented candles. Many of those candles have synthetic fragrances, dyes, and other chemicals that can harm your pets if ingested or inhaled. Also, burning candles produces smoke, which can upset a pet's respiratory system. And I don't know about you, but the last thing I want to do is lay my head on a scented pillow and get it all over my face and hair. So there you have it, the math and science behind the perfect pumpkin spice latte. Until next time, carpe diem. Thank you for joining me at Math Science History. Please remember to subscribe to the show. Also, if you could please leave a rating or a review, it would be really appreciated. Because those ratings and reviews really do help to increase my listenership, which help to get me more sponsors, which help me keep the podcast up and running. If you want to learn more about the history of math and science, please visit me at mathsciencehistory.com. If you like what you're listening to, and if you like what you're reading, please feel free to click on that coffee button and buy me a cup of coffee. Every cup of coffee that you buy helps me pay for the expenses that go into making this podcast. Also, if you're interested in leaving me a comment or chatting with me, you can always find me on your preferred social media platform, including X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Goodreads, TikTok, Threads, etc., etc., etc. Just go to Google and search for Gabrielle Burchak. You can find me everywhere. Until next time, carpe diem.